Hi, this is chapter 10. It's a very brief introduction to outlining your speech. Some of it we've already discussed in chapter 9, but here is how to outline your entire speech together. So, what's the advantage of creating an outline? It objectifies your thinking, it just takes you away from the detail, puts you sort of above the message, spurs your creativity, helps you avoid structural issues, shows where you need to create transitions to write some bridges, and makes sure that there are introduction and conclusion parts of your speech that fit the rest of your message. So, here are some steps in creating an outline. First, start with a working outline. The format is introduced here as a chart. It starts with topic, purpose, thesis statement, then introduction, attention material, the thesis statement for your introduction, the preview of what's coming next without the words in this speech I intend to discuss A, B, and C. Just give a preview. Just make your point. Transition towards the body of the speech. The body should have a first main point with subpoints, sub-subpoints, sub-subpoint, a couple of them. Then transition to the second point, transition to the third point, etc. And finally, you need to build a bridge to the conclusion. Once you've covered all points, then summary statement for your conclusion, bring it all together, and concluding remarks, making it easy to remember and what to do with this information. So that would be your working outline, and you can take a sheet of paper and write this all out. Then after that, you can prepare a formal outline. In your writing of your speech, use the keyword method to put keywords so that you can start talking extemporaneously without looking at the paper. The keywords should prompt your free-flowing speech more naturally. So what is the working outline? Write specific purpose statement, then the thesis statement, select, choose, and organize your main points from important to less important, develop their subpoints, and review what you've done. Is it easy to follow your main points? Is there enough supporting material for each point? Is there enough variety points, supporting material for each point? The formal outline based on the working outline, it includes the topic, specific purpose, a thesis statement. You create a separate introduction, body, and conclusion. Use numbers and letters where appropriate to organize the body of your speech and the intro and the conclusion. The main points, main ideas of your speech can be expressed in words already. They can be stated in concise, precise, powerful phrases. And select a title for your speech. Finally, develop a list of major sources and make sure that you check your sources. So numbering and lettering goes from more important and more general to main points, subpoints, sub-subpoints, to less important things. So it goes from more important to less important, more general to more specific. It's sort of a plain layout, and the more specific it goes, the less the place, the lower the place in each portion of your speech. The specific information goes at the end of the subpoints. The main points start with general, then you start breaking them down into more specifics. We understand how it's done in practice, and you can read further from your textbook for examples and more detailed structure. Coordination of your importance in the items that you include in your speech. Make sure that the statements that have equal importance are placed at the same level in your outline so that you don't ignore them or don't overlook them. Subordination from important to less important. Material should go down, descend in importance from main points to subpoints to sub-subpoints. So there needs to be documentation that you can actually bring up your sources in a verbal form instead of reading from the text, in AP or whatever else format you use. Just mention the publication and say, for example, the American Journal of whatever's. Then identify the year and highlight the credentials of experts. So you can say Johnson observed or Johnson published in the American Journal of Public Speaking in 2011. Credentials of Johnson are important because you want your audience to have trust in the source. So finally, we get to the keyword outline. Highlight the keywords in your formal outline. Make index cards or one sheet of paper on which you will have the keywords. Include prompts for your documentation. Print everything in large letters. I think we've mentioned this already. It needs to be well spaced for comfortable reading, and large fonts. I usually go with 14 point. You can use Arial or similarly broad fonts. Times New Roman is standard, but it's good for written communication. For oral, you can use all caps. It is permitted, but it may be confusing to certain people. So large letters are better, and absolutely necessary to practice your speech, because as I noticed listening to some of your presentations, sometimes you will stumble even over things that you wrote yourself, because what you see is what you say, and sometimes if you don't see it properly at once, you will stumble. So be prepared by rehearsing. Use your keyword outline when you present your speech, but be sure to have gone over it a few times so that it does not sound unfamiliar. So basically, these are some very simple points that you can follow. And we did say one needs a week to prepare for a speech, but in some cases we don't have that 1 week. So we hope that everything else we've been talking about is serving as preparation in a general form. That everything we've done so far, it is part of your preparation. Even if you have to sit down and write one of your speeches in 2 days, the rest of the time you have been working on it already.